So I've been gone for a little bit, and I will say life's been a bit interesting. I had to get a second job. Whoa, that's crazy, dude. Never had to do this in my life, actually. Personal things happen. That was a reason why I needed to get a second job. And unlike a lot of people in the world that don't want to have a second job or, think it really sucks, my second job has actually been pretty positive. You see, if you've been on this channel for a while, you know that I've been dealing with this little thing called anxiety and panic attacks, right? And lately, I did try medication. I don't know if I've said that in a previous video, but I tried medication and I didn't like it. I tried that thing for like a month and a half, and dude, if it's worked for people, shout out to y'all. But I was getting bad dizzy spells. It was causing me to get nauseous. And the one thing they say when you take anxiety medication is, you have to weigh the pros and cons of it. And is it making your life better? And mine, it just wasn't. At least the medication I was taking wasn't worth it. So I got off of it. And the thing that I had never tried before, and I always told myself, I was like, before we get on medication, we should try 2 things. And the 2 things were, I should really start exercising very intensely, because there's a lot of science between your brain and what can happen if you do have very intense workouts regularly in life. It can help you get rid of a lot of that anxiety and stuff in your brain, which I think is very interesting. I do work out, but it's not intense, right? I'm not all the time. It's not a super intense workout. It's push-ups, it's sit-ups, stuff like that, but never to where I'm sweating bullets, you know what I mean? So that was one of the things I told myself I need to start doing that. The other thing was getting a job where I get out of the house, because I do think, since I quit my job to become a full-time creator, and then I got lucky enough to, have my first job, I was able to still work from home. I've been working at home for the last 4 years. And the one thing a lot of people do not tell you about, they think that working at home, it has all these benefits. It's amazing. And I think if you are in a... Stupid dog. I'm back. So I think, from what I was saying, depending on your living situation, if you are a parent or something like that, working from home might be amazing for you. But I do think, and this is something I've learned, is I actually, as much as I disliked my old job and thought it was just soul crushing, the social aspect of it was something I never had a problem with. There were some coworkers I didn't like, but that's everywhere you work at. But for the most part, I worked with a lot of people that I had no problem with talking to on a daily basis. And I think I took the social aspect of working at a job pretty much for granted. And so I say all of this stuff with, getting a new job, getting off of medication, and doing all this kind of stuff, is that my mental health so far has improved, which I think is actually pretty cool. But, and this is why I'll tell you how I know it's improved, because I've done 2 things recently, and they might sound bad, but it's something I used to do a lot before I had anxiety. Was 1, I woke up in the middle of the night and being like, I'm gonna die soon. Okay, soon is not that. Okay, that's not how I think. It's usually I'm going to die someday. I don't know why I said soon there, and I hope that's not a premonition. But I usually would wake up sometimes and I'd be like, oh man, this sucks. And that's just something that used to happen a lot. And I think that's where probably most of my anxiety used to happen before I knew I had anxiety and panic attacks and all that jazz. That was probably the most anxious thing I ever dealt with in life, was those random waking up in the middle of the nights and just being like, oh my God, someday I'm going to be gone. But because I've been trying to control my thoughts and stuff and be less of an overthinker lately, I woke up, I thought that, I was like, man, that sucks. And then I started going through my routine of trying to control my thoughts and being like, hey, I was like, you know what, overthinking, blah, blah. This is my new mantra. There's this book called Don't Believe Everything You Think, I believe. I believe it's by, the author's name is Joseph Wynn. Great book, very short read, by the way. And in that book, he uses the pause method. And in the pause method, the S says, or is it S? Whatever. It's say, I believe is what the S stands for. And it is that, it says the quote of, thinking is the root cause of suffering. And I don't know why that quote has been so interesting to me and has been so embedded in my brain, because when you really think about it, we experience a lot of things in lives, but the overthinking of what we experience is what causes the suffering. And it's very interesting. Like, yeah, a girl rejects you that you really enjoyed or you really liked being with or whatever. She rejects you, she dumps you, whatever. It hurts. That moment that she dumps you, it hurts. But it hurts in that moment, in that day. And everything after that, you're just thinking about like her hurting you. You're thinking about the project. You're thinking about like, oh, I'm going to miss this and I'm going to miss that. You're just thinking about all these things. And that's what's causing your suffering. It's not that she dumped you, because she already did that. She did that a day ago, a week ago, a month ago, and you're still thinking about it. And that's why you suffer. And I was just like, whoa, like it was just like a crazy thing. So I really tell myself that nowadays. And not saying that it solved all of my anxieties or worries or anything like that, but it is a good frame of mind to have, right? So that has been pretty cool. So that was one random thing that happened. I woke up in the middle of the night. That was something I used to experience back in the day. I'm able to control it now. That was kind of nice. Another thing that I have not done, or have not at least caught myself or been aware of myself doing this in a really long time, and that was daydreaming. I'm talking about you're just sitting there and you're like, and you know what I mean? And you just catch yourself daydreaming about whatever. That is something I haven't done in a long time, because I feel like my brain has constantly just been scanning my body and being like, our eye hurt, our chest hurts, our knee hurts, this hurts, it's all cancer, we're all gonna die. Oh my God, you just heard about this guy that got his stomach removed? Oh my God, that's gonna happen to us because we have a tummy ache. That was constantly what my brain's been like. And it's been kind of insane. That's what's been going on. I was about to go off on a tangent on something else, but I stopped myself because I'm like, this video was supposed to totally be something different, which I'm going to talk about what I originally wanted to talk about too, but I wasn't expecting to start it off the way I did. Let's get back on track, Juice, get back on track. So yeah, a lot of improvement in the mental health area, but with that improvement, it has given me more time to think about other things that are not anxiety or panic attacks. And in that extra time of thinking, it's made me really question and ponder my life and what I'm doing and all that kind of jazz, right? Because I feel like I have become, or I failed myself, which I don't know what the title of this video is, and I don't know if it is that, I failed myself or whatever it's going to be called. It's kind of true. Is this something I've talked about in therapy multiple times, and I'm trying to get down to it, but there was, and I think I talked about this probably in the cancel video, the cancel culture video, which was a long one, so if you didn't watch it, I totally understand. But for the most part, I think, somewhere in the last 10 years, I have started to care too much about what people think. And the way I've been piecing things together throughout life, there can be a whole bunch of reasons why this is. It could have been like me destroying the comic channel back in the day, because you guys know, back in the comic channel days, I said my jokes, I said whatever. I did, I might have made some jokes that might have offended people or done whatever, but I didn't really care, because I'm like, it's entertainment, guys. You shouldn't be so mad, whatever, right? Because, during jokes, I'd be like, oh, Barbara, whoa, you know what I mean? I'd be doing jokes like that. I don't think anybody cared. I think didn't take serious. As I gotten older and stuff, I'm just like, oh man, people might oh my God, if I say that joke, they might get so mad. You know what I mean? I don't know why I started caring so much. And maybe that's because when I did have when I told everybody to go fuck themselves and I didn't care, and I'm like, I don't do all this shit. I was going through stuff at the time, but I don't know if it's that explosion and seeing how people would leave depending on how you respond or how you handle things. Maybe it does matter what you say, right? Now, in hindsight, I think the reason why people left is because I kind of acted like an asshole. I could have handled that situation way better. I was just, as I said, going through stuff, and I handled it very poorly. And I just think that there's better ways to handle things, and maybe there would still be an audience there if I did do things in a more professional way. But, old Juice didn't give a fuck. It was just like, fuck you guys, you know what I mean? So that's probably where a lot of it might have started. And then, going through the reaction stuff, I was doing all the reaction stuff. And then, I saw like there was some backlash. The reason why, if I've never said this before, I kind of stopped doing the reactions was because there was a lot of like growing backlash in people hating reaction channels and saying like, you're stealing from artists and you're doing this and you're doing this. And like, I want to support people. And if you saw those reaction videos for a long time, I always tried to give credit where credit was due. And I tried to like just react to people that wouldn't care, because I know a lot of people didn't care about reactions. But that still crept into my brain because I'm like, oh, well, if that thing blows up, people are going to be like, oh, you're just stealing. No. It was like, I let everything just start getting into my head way too much. And I think that kind of like, it became a detriment. And then when I started trying to do things on like TikTok and other websites, it was the same thing. I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't post this because so-and-so is gonna, this random people might think it's bad and whatever. And then I ultimately did get canceled. Again, go watch the cancel culture video if you haven't seen that. And I think that just like solidified it, that I was just like, wow, I was like, this sucks. So I think for the longest time, and I'm just now realizing this, I have cared too much about what people think when it comes to my content and doing what I want to do. Now, granted, I also think the landscape has changed. I want to make that very clear. I think YouTube and content creation is extremely harder. Even 5 years ago is way harder than it was 5 years ago, I should say. And so, trying to get into this new mold of content creation on top of not caring, trying to do both of those things at the same time is extremely hard. And I think I've just been losing an uphill battle this whole time, because I've started to do things that, I never really had a lot of passion for. I mean, if you guys have been following this channel for a while, I killed off my drama character because I didn't want to do drama. Like, I don't really give a shit about talking about this stuff. Although I do think somebody needs to be out there speaking about calling out creators that are doing bad things. And I might still do a video of that from time to time, because I do have a couple of passion projects I would want to still get out because nobody's talking about them. But for the most part, I didn't really want to do that. That's not my passion. I want to do like more interesting things, but those were the things that were getting the views. So of course I'm like, I got to keep doing that. And it was just really bad, man. And like I said, I've talked about this in therapy, because like my therapist has asked, and I've had multiple ones now, and they've asked like, well, when was like the last time, like a moment in time that you think you were like really happy or a great time? And I will always reference this. If you go back to the original Juice from the Box channel, and I used to do a lot of vlogs. There is a vlog from 2014 where I do a road trip with my friends from Las Vegas to LA to San Diego back to Las Vegas. And it is just one of my favorite times. It felt like one of those it felt like a road trip movie to me. Like, you do all the things like fucking fireworks on the beach, hanging out. We were climbing mountains. We were taking helicopter rides. Like, me and my friends shot an on-D video in freaking Vegas hotel room. Like, it was amazing. It was a great, fantastic time. And that is, I watch that video every year, multiple times a year, because it was just a moment in time that I was truly happy. I wasn't thinking about anything else. I was down for whatever. It was a great, awesome time with amazing people. And that's where it seems like, granted, I know I've had more happy times since then, but it seems like that's the last time that I remember being like, oh, dude, because I was dressing up in a freaking pink wig in public and not giving a shit what people thought. I was probably a little anxious during that, but still, like, I had the balls to go do that. And now I'm just like, well, what if people think I'm weird or cringe? And like, oh my God, I don't want people to think that. And like, oh my God, I'm a certain age now. So what if people think it's weird for me to be doing that at my age? Like, why do I give a fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why do I care so much what other people think? Because at the end of the day, the people that think I'm weird for doing something, we're never going to watch the content in the first place. And there are people that are way older than me doing weirder shit, and they're extremely popular. But I'm over here just like caring so much, like, oh my God, what if so-and-so thinks that? What if they do? What if they do? Fuck them. You can't control what other people think, so just be you. It's just been like, kind of like eating away at me. And like, I've just been thinking about it. I'm like, dude, did I really like fail myself in not staying true to who I want it to be? Because I'm still doing that now. Like, I'm navigating some stuff right now. If you guys are very curious about why there hasn't been content, like I said, I got a second job, and you'll hear more about it in the future. I'm not really going to talk about it now, but there might be content that explains it in the future, because, Yeah, I'm not gonna give it away. I was gonna give a little spoiler there. I've been wanting to come up with like some series and stuff. I want to, I haven't been able to crack the code here on YouTube. I just haven't. That's a genuine statement. You know what I mean? I've done it on other channels, but I get burnt out, or like I've said, reasons why. I stopped doing those, and I tried to do the no niche thing here, and it didn't work. I think YouTube is you need a niche, and then once you build that audience, you can do whatever you want after that, once it's a core audience that won't care what you're doing. I wasn't able to do that here, and so I'm just kind of like, what are we going to do? And I want to try doing series on Instagram. I have seen this work. I have seen so many people start mini series of like, just doing whatever, to be honest. Like, I've seen series for everything, but as long as you're like making content about one particular thing, people seem to latch on and want to see what you're going to do next. It's like mini micro episodic television. And I'm like, it would be cool. I might upload those videos here as shorts too, but it's going to be focused more on Instagram. I don't really give a fuck about TikTok. I mean, I made a whole video. I think my last video was like, I hate TikTok. So I might post them over there, but don't hold your breath. I would follow my IG profiles. But I really want to give a shot at doing this IG stuff, because another thing, and I don't know if I talked about this in any of the previous, when I did those 30 videos in April, I have really been contemplating whether to give up social media in general and just become a writer. And I really thought about this again last night. It was like 1 or 2 in the morning. I was watching this channel called Shonen Theory, by the way. Good channel if you want to learn how to write manga. They have so many good questions to ask when you're building characters and whatnot. They're like, I've been watching them since they were like 300 subscribers or some shit. Like, it's crazy. But anyways, great channel. I was watching one of their videos, and like, as I was just watching it, I'm like, dude, this would take so much time to do everything that they're saying, but it all makes sense. And I'm like, the best writers in the world probably do all of this. I'm like, how do they have the time to do that? It's because they're only writers. You know what I mean? And I'm over here trying to be YouTube guy, Instagram social media guy, have my own jobs, and then be a writer on top of that. Don't forget when I was streaming too. And I'm just like, dude, like, maybe I do need to just give it all up and just be a writer. You know what I mean? But I think part of me is like, well, you haven't given the IG thing a shot. And I feel like I will always want to try it. And unless I give it a fair shot, and just like quit, like I think I'll always kind of regret it. So I think right now, for the remainder of the year probably, I'm going to give this IG content creation a shot, because like I said, I know people that have personally grown brands on IG, but I need to do it in a way where I'm true to myself, because I think for the longest time, I've been just trying to do things that I think are going to be successful, and my heart's probably not in it. You know what I mean? And I do need to do it a little bit more strategic, but I think I need to come up with a series or something interesting that I am going to enjoy, that I think people are also going to enjoy watching, and I need to try that before I just go full-blown, like, becoming a writer. I could also just make a series about becoming a writer. You know what I mean? Like, that is something I could do too, because I do genuinely enjoy content creation. Like, I love making something and seeing what people think about it. It is just something I enjoy to do, so it's very hard for me to just give up, but it is something I contemplate often, is like if I should just give up everything and become a writer, because someday I would love for people to read my stuff and then make content about it, whether they think it's garbage or they think it's the greatest thing ever. That would still be something. Like, you put your imprint, you put your stamp on the world, and people are talking about it, would be very interesting. But my therapist is like, why do you need people to read everything or even listen to like what you do? And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, he was like, shouldn't you just love it because you want to? And I do. I do love writing, but I don't know what it is. Like, it's also cool when people read your shit and also think it's cool. So I don't know. There's a lot I'm still trying to siphon through up in this brain here. But yeah, I don't know what this video was. I think it was just kind of a video. I kind of wanted to fart out there and just kind of let everybody know what's kind of been going on, because I've been gone for a bit. And so yeah, I don't expect anybody to watch this video and then go follow the IG pages, but I think that is something I'm going to be cooking up in the future. So definitely I would go follow the IG pages. I'll put them in the description if you want to go follow them. I have one that my V2 one, which is where I post most of my stuff right now. But when I start doing the series stuff, it is going to be on the main Juice from the Box IG page, and that's going to be the more like edited and fancy stuff, where the V2 page is kind of just where I diarrhea and fart stuff, and that's kind of like the more spam content. So just FYI, there is a difference between the both. But yeah, that's where I've been at. That's been kind of my mindset. I'm hoping that anybody else has been going through their own personal journeys out there. Hopefully your lives are getting better. I can tell you, as somebody who's been going through it for the last 4 years, sometimes it takes a while to find out what makes life better, but it can be better. I still have bad days though. I will say that, but I can also tell you that the mental's been a little bit better. Whether that be because I'm around more people nowadays, or because like I just shifted my mindset, or whatever it can be. I don't know. I can't tell you that right now. I'm still very, very fresh into it, but I can tell you things do get better, So there's that. That's me. I don't know what the fuck this video was. Be true to yourself. Fuck what people think. And yeah, keep on keeping on. I'll see you in the next one.